Hey, what's up, everybody? Justin Sardi, CEO and co-founder of TubeSift here. And today we've lined up a really cool interview with a YouTube ads expert.
Justin, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, I appreciate it.
For sure.
Sweet. Yeah. So I actually started running YouTube ads 3 years ago when I was working for my old mentor, and ran ads for his business, Dean Graziosi, and helped him scale up into the millions with different offers through his company. And I actually have since now focused on my own agency, adspend.com, where we just focus on primarily YouTube ads for our clients. We focus on specifically info product businesses, anyone who sells online courses, digital products, info products and anything online, and are looking to get more leads or more customers using video ads on YouTube. And basically, a lot of the clients that work with us, they're already running ads on Facebook, but they just haven't cracked the code for YouTube yet because it's a totally different platform. So we help them, learn how to copy and paste those campaigns that are working on Facebook over to YouTube the right way, so that way they can actually reach success a lot faster. I love working with clients one-on-one, to be honest, because, there's nothing better than like seeing a client campaign go from like just struggling a little bit the first like few weeks and then getting it dialed in, then where they're just like super happy to where they're getting their calendar filled or their sales just, run up. So
Cool. You mentioned the whole taking it from Facebook to YouTube, because it is a whole different animal. I've seen a lot of people just, they're like, oh, I have this video that's working on Facebook. Can I just use that for YouTube? I'm like, no, dude, you
no.
can't. Like, and they're like, well, I've tried it. YouTube ads don't work. I'm like, well, no wonder it doesn't work. That's not, it's two different platforms and people consume content completely differently on both of the platforms. And you really need to keep that in mind when you're moving from one to the other. So
100%. You're trying to replicate your success on Facebook over to YouTube, but the difference is there's like Facebook has copy. So the copy actually sells because the video gets their attention, then they read the copy, then they click. With YouTube, like you gotta sell in the video. Otherwise you're not gonna get the person to click. Most of the time, the reason why you're not having success is because you're not creating the right video for YouTube, specifically talking to your most ideal customers. So it is very different. Yeah. Most of the time that we work with the client, they're already running Facebook, like I said. So the key is actually getting them to create video ads now, right? So we usually have each client that we work with create 5 video ads, 3 for cold traffic, 2 for remarketing. Very simple. And the 3 cold traffic ads that we have them start with are based off a few things. So we actually help them write a very specific script based off their actual offer and use their sales page. We're not going to replicate the wheel and try to reinvent like a whole new script. We use the copy on their sales page and the best copy converting to them on Facebook. We combine those 2 elements, and then that creates the hook, the actual story and education piece, and then the call to action at the very end. So it's a 3-part, script. It's very simple. And we create 3 different versions of that. Now, of course, the 3 different versions come from the hook itself because, different stages of awareness per customer, right? Someone that doesn't even know your brand exists, and someone that does know you exist but hasn't bought your products, or someone that's already in the middle of your funnel that just is on the fence and hasn't bought yet, right? So there's those 3 different stages of awareness that we kind of go through with those scripts. We have them film those scripts. Usually we do 3 different variations of those video ads. So 1 selfie style, 1 more direct to camera, and then 1 more higher production, B-roll with all the elements you need. And so once we create all those variations of those ads, we then split them up into campaigns and start testing them depending on the targeting.
I like how you make the 3 different videos. Those all have the same script then, basically?
All the same script. We're just testing a few different things. We're testing what resonates with the audience more. We're really just testing each of those different filming styles and editing styles to see which one really resonates with the actual cold traffic campaigns.
I don't know why, but the video, like my best performing ad hands down, is the one where I pulled out my phone and was like, hey, it was just like talking to my phone. I was walking my dogs. I was like, hey, I got an idea for an ad. I better shoot this real quick.
Boom.
Shot it, no editing, 1 take. That was my hands down my best performing ad. But just the selfie style, just, hey, here's what I'm going to show you kind of thing, worked extremely well.
100%, man, because it's like you were in the moment. You felt the gut to like, let me just film this right now. You didn't overthink it. You just did it. The worst thing you can do is just be robotic and just not come from the heart, because the most important thing is emotional and energetic, especially with video. You got to be able to energize and intrigue the person, but also get them, enthusiastic enough to where they want to actually click. The best video ads always come from that place of just like, man, I just feel like filming a video ad right now, from my experience. And those seem to perform the best. I don't know why.
Right. For sure. No, that makes a lot of sense, especially when you're an expert. Like, people do connect with you. And I think that's why YouTube ads are so powerful.
you have a great offer. So it just makes sense. And it's just like, well, this gets my attention enough to keep watching. And then the offer makes sense enough to where I want to learn more. And then I click. So it's a really cool way, man. YouTube ads is like, it's just, I think it's obviously we're both biased, right? But it's one of the best traffic sources.
Sure. Once you find a winning one, how do you go about scaling?
I think the very simplistic way of thinking about it from my experience is like, there's 3 different ways to scale, right? There's the campaign level where you have a campaign that's working, right? And you kind of don't really want to touch it because it's working so well. So one way to scale it, like you mentioned, is you could increase the budget. But sometimes when you increase or you just double the budget, right? Things just, your CPA goes from, let's say like it's $30 where you're happy with it to all of a sudden it doubles and goes to $60 over the next 3 days. And it, for whatever reason, doesn't optimize back down to $30. And you've like basically just killed that campaign and it just never comes back to life, right? You know, honestly, with a campaign that's working, now I'm very hesitant to touch anything. I'll usually leave it as is, but the way I'll scale it is I'll duplicate it, but I'll either change one of 2 things. I'll either change the targeting, because usually in that campaign, there's a couple demographics that are working really well, right? Okay. It's maybe an age range, it's maybe a household income, or it's a certain targeting that you have in that actual campaign. I'll duplicate the campaign that's working and I'll only add in the converting audiences or the converting demographics that I want within my target CPA range. And I'll exclude all the non-performing audiences or keywords or whatever the case may be. So I'm just creating an iteration of the already winning campaign and seeing if I can just, you know, milk it for even lower cost per conversions, because those are already proven to work in this one that's working. I'm not touching this one. So I'm just duplicating out and making an iteration of it based off that. And I'll usually just do the same budget that I started with over here and then slowly increase the budget on that. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. That's the one way to do it from the campaign level. The other way is from the ads level itself. When you have a campaign that's working, there's usually one that just, for whatever reason, like you said, just stands out and crushes it, right? Right. So the way that we go about, you know, recreating the success of a video ad, we just simply change the hook in the beginning, right? Because if the core messaging's tight, if the call to action's tight, usually it's just figuring out another way to get another person's attention that didn't get their attention from the first variation of the video. So all we change is the first, you know, intro piece, the first 30 seconds before someone can actually get charged, or before you can get charged by running the ad. And then the other level is, let's say you have a campaign that's working to a targeting like keywords, for example, right? Like a keyword of TubeSift. TubeSift's just crushing it, right? And what we would do is we would have our client actually create a video ad with the hook mentioning that keyword in the first 5 seconds. So that's like 3 different ways that we go about scaling. Those are the ones that I've kind of found that I can give tactically, and you guys should try out yourself. In order to, you know, really scale on YouTube, you got to have your numbers dialed in on the back end, or at least somewhat dialed in. And you got to have a really good offer, because if you have a shitty offer, or excuse me, a crappy offer, or you're just selling unethical stuff, like, then it just really probably isn't the best case scenario. If you guys want to get in touch with me, my website is adspend.com. We use TubeSift religiously. All of my team does as well for all of our clients, because, you know, it just is the best software for scraping video placements on YouTube. So yeah, highly recommend TubeSift. And if you guys want to get in touch with me, once again, my website is adspend.com. We help info product businesses launch and scale using YouTube ads. And yeah, we can chat.
Cool, man. Thanks for your time, and really appreciate the tips, especially the scaling ones. I dig that. And yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Peace. Thanks, Justin.